Transfer pricing documentation requirements, master file and local file. Taxable persons, particularly those engaged in cross-border transactions or part of large multinational enterprise groups, MNEs, are required to adhere to specific transfer pricing documentation requirements to ensure transparency and compliance with tax regulations. These requirements are designed to provide tax authorities with detailed information about the transfer pricing practices of businesses, particularly when these practices involve related parties or connected persons. One of the key aspects of these requirements is the need for taxable persons to maintain and submit two critical documents, the master file and the local file. These files serve different purposes but both aim to ensure that the pricing of intercompany transactions is in line with the arm's length principle. Applicability of master file and local file. The requirement to maintain a master file and a local file applies to taxable persons if either of the following conditions is met. The revenue of the taxable person in the relevant tax period is AED 200 million or more. The taxable person is part of a multinational enterprise group, MNE, whose total consolidated group revenue is AED 3,150 million or more in the preceding financial year. These thresholds are established to target businesses with significant financial activities or those involved in large-scale, multinational operations. Companies falling within these criteria must adhere to the documentation rules to avoid penalties and facilitate a smoother audit or risk assessment process by the Federal Tax Authority, FTA. Master File, a blueprint of the MNE's activities. The master file is essentially a high-level document that provides an overview of the multinational enterprise, MNE, group's activities, economic operations, and transfer pricing policies. It serves as a blueprint of the group's global structure, detailing the interconnectedness and financial flows within the group. Key elements typically included in the master file include organizational structure, a description of the MNE group, including the legal and ownership structure of all entities within the group, their geographical locations, and the nature of their activities. Financial information. A consolidated financial statement for the MNE group, detailing key financial data such as revenues, profits, assets, and liabilities. This provides tax authorities with an understanding of the scale of the group's operations and how it generates value. Business and economic overview. A comprehensive summary of the MNE's overall business operations, including a description of the group's activities, the key products or services it provides, and the markets in which it operates. It also includes an explanation of the transfer pricing policies used across the group. Transfer pricing policies. A detailed explanation of the MNE's transfer pricing policies, including the methods used to allocate profits and the justifications for selecting these methods. This section provides an understanding of how the group applies the arm's length principle in its intercompany transactions. Intangible assets. Information about intangible assets owned by the group, such as patents, trademarks, copyrights, and software, and how these assets are valued and transferred within the group. Financial and tax jurisdictions. Details about the tax jurisdictions in which the MNE operates, including any tax rulings, advanced pricing agreements, APAs, or other arrangements that influence transfer pricing and tax outcomes within the group. The master file is designed to provide a holistic understanding of the group's global activities and tax strategies, ensuring that the FTA has access to the essential details necessary for transfer pricing assessments and ensuring compliance with the arm's length principle. Local file, detailed transactional information. In contrast to the master file, the local file provides more detailed, transaction-specific information regarding the related party and connected person's transactions undertaken by the taxable person or its group members. The local file is focused on specific intercompany transactions and provides the functional and economic analysis necessary to demonstrate that these transactions have been conducted at arm's length. Key elements typically included in the local file are: detailed transaction information, a description of each related party transaction, including the nature of the transaction, the parties involved, and the financial terms. This section must also include an analysis of how the transfer pricing policies and methodologies were applied to each transaction. Functional and economic analysis. An analysis of the functions performed, risks assumed, and assets used by the entities involved in the transaction. This analysis helps demonstrate that the pricing is in line with what would have been agreed between independent entities under similar circumstances. Comparable data. Data that supports the arm's length nature of the transactions, including details of comparable transactions between unrelated parties, and adjustments made to account for any differences. This could include financial data, benchmarking studies, and industry comparisons. Transfer pricing methods used. An explanation of the specific transfer pricing methods applied to determine the price for related party transactions, example, the cost-plus method, comparable uncontrolled price method, or profit split method, and the rationale for choosing the methods. Intercompany agreements. Copies of any intercompany agreements that govern the transactions, providing further context and legal basis for the pricing applied. Allocation of profits. A breakdown of how profits are allocated across the group, including any adjustments made for tax purposes to align with the arm's length principle. The local file is designed to provide detailed support for the transfer pricing practices of a specific taxable person or group entity, ensuring that transactions are conducted at arm's length and that the transfer pricing methods used are appropriate for the specific circumstances. Purpose and benefits of master and local files. The master file and local file together serve as a comprehensive package of transfer pricing documentation that allows taxable persons to justify their transfer pricing practices to the FTA. These documents demonstrate that the transactions between related entities within a group are conducted fairly and in line with the arm's length principle. The benefits of maintaining these files include: regulatory compliance, ensuring compliance with local transfer pricing regulations and avoiding penalties or adjustments to taxable income. Prevention of tax evasion, ensuring that businesses do not engage in practices that artificially shift profits to jurisdictions with lower tax rates. Risk mitigation, providing the FTA with detailed documentation to support transfer pricing practices, reducing the risk of lengthy audits or tax disputes. Facilitation of audits, streamlining the audit process by providing the FTA with clear and organized documentation, thereby reducing the burden of tax inspections and assessments.